The words that crushed me. I never thought my own sister would become the one to destroy me. Not strangers, not time, not my illness. Her voice, the one that used to sing lullabies to me as a child, became the dagger that tore through what was left of my spirit. "You're a burden, not family," she spat one night. Those words echoed louder than the machines that now monitor my every breath. I felt my soul fracture in that moment, but not break, not yet. My name is Evelyn. I am 68 years old. I was diagnosed with a progressive neuromuscular disease last year, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. It's a cruel illness, slowly paralyzing me from the limbs inward, leaving my mind alert inside a failing body. After my husband passed, I had no children, no one else to lean on. I sold our house and moved in with my younger sister, Carol. Carol was my last thread to family. She welcomed me at first, told me to rest easy and feel at home, but that sweetness faded fast. Within weeks, her sighs grew louder. Her eyes rolled at every request. My mobility decreased rapidly, and I needed help for basic things like meals, laundry, even turning in bed. I apologized constantly. I begged her to let me know if it became too much. She always smiled and said, "It's fine." But one night as I sat in my wheelchair near the kitchen, I overheard her on the phone. "She's dragging me down, Susan. She's a parasite, a burden, not even real family anymore." My breath caught. I felt like the floor vanished beneath me. That night she came to me with her usual fake kindness, offering lukewarm soup. I looked up at her and simply said, "I heard what you said." She blinked, then smirked. "Good. At least we don't have to pretend anymore." I went numb after that, not from ALS, but from something deeper, betrayal. Over the following days, Carol treated me like a piece of furniture. I wasn't spoken to unless she was barking orders. I was served meals late, sometimes cold. Once I sat in soiled clothes for hours before she came to help. The worst part, she'd smile and joke with her friends on the phone, pretending to be this angelic caregiver. Sometimes she'd leave me in the back room while guests were over as if I didn't exist. One afternoon, while I struggled to grip a spoon with my weakening hand, she walked by and muttered, "You should have died with your husband." That's when something in me shifted. I was still alive, and I still had a mind. And that meant I had the power to do something she'd never expect. Trapped in my own bloodline, after hearing those vile words, "You should have died with your husband," I sat frozen in my chair, more from shock than weakness. Carol didn't even flinch. She just walked past me, sipping her wine like she hadn't just thrown a grenade into my chest. I stared at the wall for hours that evening, not crying, just calculating. I never wanted to be a burden. Never wanted this disease, this life of dependency. But more than that, I never thought I'd be despised by my own blood. My sister, the one who once held my hand through heartbreak, was now feeding on my vulnerability to boost her ego, playing the martyr to everyone outside, while slowly starving me of dignity inside. Each morning became a cycle of humiliation. She'd huff while helping me bathe slammed drawers just out of reach, or accidentally forget my medication until I reminded her. Once she poured boiling water for tea and placed it just far enough that I'd burn myself trying to reach it. "Oops," she said, smirking as I screamed. I became invisible, an old ghost occupying space she hated. Her friends visited often well-dressed women with overly plumped lips and fake empathy. Carol would exaggerate my condition for sympathy points, sometimes wheeling me out just long enough for a performance. "Oh, Evie had a fall the other night. Poor thing," she'd coo, placing her hand on my shoulder in front of them. It's so hard being her only support. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I just smiled through clenched teeth like a puppet. Then came the financial control. Carol had access to my bank cards, supposedly for food and medicine. But I noticed odd things. New shoes, spa visits, even a weekend trip she took without me. I needed a break, she told me. You can't expect me to be tied down 24/7. Worse still, she started talking to a lawyer about managing my affairs. I only knew because I heard her whispering in the hallway one evening, trying to convince him to grant her medical power of attorney. She's slipping, she lied. Mentally, I mean. She won't be around long. I shook with rage. My mind was sharp. I may have been weak, but I remembered everything. Every time she forgot to feed me, every insult, every bruising shove when no one was watching. But here's the truth. She didn't know I had a friend. Old Mrs. Kendrick from the church I used to attend had a grandson, Noah, who was a paralegal. One afternoon while Carol was out, he visited me. I dictated everything, every abuse, every misused dollar, every hateful word. We began quietly. Hidden camera in my room, voice recorder in the hallway. My phone password changed and stored with him. My accounts locked with dual authentication. Carol thought she was breaking me down, but I was building a case, one breath at a time, recording pain in silence. Once I took the first step with Noah, something inside me sparked back to life, like the embers of a fire I thought had gone cold. It was the fire of purpose, of resistance. Every cruel gesture Carol threw my way only fueled it more. The tiny camera Noah had helped install sat quietly in the bookshelf of my room. Disguised in a porcelain angel Carol had given me as a peace offering months ago, I thought it poetic. From that moment on, every hateful word she muttered when she thought no one was listening was captured. Every moment she left me struggling, every time she tossed my medication on the floor and made me pick it up with trembling fingers, it was all recorded. I remember one day, a particularly bad one. She came in with a bag of takeout, something greasy that smelled delicious, and she held it just out of reach. Maybe if you'd tried harder in life, you wouldn't be rotting like this, she said. Then dumped the food in the trash. Starving might make you finally useful. I didn't react, not because I was numb, but because I wanted her to go further. She was building my case for me. With every spiteful move, every flash of that venomous smile, she was writing her own confession. At night, I would whisper into the voice recorder that Noah had left. I couldn't hold a pen anymore, but my voice was enough. I'd recount every incident, dates, words, times. I described the bruises on my arms when she pushed me too hard, the pills she withheld until I behaved. Despite the pain, I never told her what I was doing. I kept my head down, pretended to be more helpless than I was. That gave me access, more unfiltered abuse, more honesty from the monster my sister had become. Some nights, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how we'd ended up here. As children, we were close. We lost our parents early and clung to each other through the chaos. She was the wild one. I was the steady one. I put her through school, helped her get her first car, even covered part of the down payment on this very house when she thought she'd lose it. And now she was plotting to strip me of my rights, my money, my humanity. But I didn't let those thoughts make me bitter. They made me brave. I knew I had to act before her manipulation reached the courts. I knew she was contacting adult services, laying the groundwork to declare me mentally incompetent. She was good at pretending. But this time I would be better. I gathered all the recordings, every file, every clip. With Noah's help, we organized them into a single, uncut truth, a timeline of cruelty. When we watched it together, I cried. Not just for myself, but for the sister I had lost, and for the reckoning she didn't see coming, the will and the secret plan. As Carol grew bolder, I grew quieter, and that silence frightened her more than any words could. She started watching me closely, suspecting something was off. "You've been awfully calm lately," she said one morning, wiping fake concern across her face. "Not plotting revenge, are we?" She laughed. I smiled back, slow and empty. You'd never see it coming. That week, she called an estate lawyer behind my back, someone from her golf club. She planned to have me declared unfit and seize control of my finances. She's going downhill fast, I heard her say in the kitchen. She babbles nonsense, forgets things. It's really sad. That same afternoon, she brought me tea laced with crushed sleeping pills. I didn't drink it. Instead, I had Noah over that evening, under the pretense of a hospice volunteer. Carol didn't question it. She was too busy packing for a weekend getaway with her newest fling. That visit changed everything. Noah brought legal papers. Together, we crafted a new will and a living directive. All my remaining savings, nearly $120,000, were to be donated to a foundation for disabled seniors. Not a single cent would go to Carol. I also granted Noah limited power of attorney, placing a legal wall between my sister and my bank accounts. To Carol, I was a decaying puppet. To me, she was the snake I'd finally learned how to trap. Over the next few days, Noah and I put everything in motion. He scheduled a family dinner, a surprise reunion, he said, and made sure to invite every living relative we had: cousins, nieces, nephews, even Carol's estranged daughter, Megan. Carol didn't suspect anything. She thought it was her moment to shine, to play the devoted sister for the crowd and reap their admiration. "You'll wear something nice, won't you?" she asked me before the dinner. "Don't embarrass me in front of people who actually matter." I simply nodded. That night, while she fussed with appetizers and floral centerpieces, I sat calmly in the living room. Underneath the tablecloth, a flash drive was tucked beneath a silver serving dish. On it, a fully edited video of her abuse, voice recordings, photos of bruises, bank statements. I could barely keep my hands from trembling, not out of fear, but anticipation. The family arrived one by one, warm hugs and awkward greetings floating around me like ghosts. Carol's daughter, Megan, seemed hesitant but curious. She hadn't spoken to her mother in 3 years. Dinner was served, the wine poured, and before dessert I cleared my throat. "There's something I need to share," I said. Everyone went silent. Carol blinked wide-eyed. "Evie, no, not now." But it was too late. Noah stepped up, connected the flash drive to the TV, and pressed play. What followed was 15 minutes of hell, Carol's hell, and she was about to live it in front of everyone who once respected her. The family dinner that exploded. At first, no one could believe what they were watching. The video opened with Carol's voice, clear as day, snapping, "You should have died with your husband." Gasps rippled through the room. I saw Megan's eyes widen, her hand flying to her mouth. Cousin Henry froze mid-bite, fork dangling. Then came the footage, grainy but undeniable. Carol dumping hot food in the trash while I sat quietly nearby. Carol rolling her eyes and muttering, "Rot in that chair for all I care." Carol grabbing my arm too hard, yanking the medication from my lap. It was all there, her tantrums, her manipulation, her casual cruelty. Every moment I had endured in silence now screamed from the television screen, and every person in that room saw her for what she truly was. "Turn that off," she barked, lunging toward the TV. Noah stepped between her and the cord. "It stays on," he said firmly. "Evie, you twisted little witch," Carol screamed, red-faced, spinning toward me. "You planned this." I looked her in the eye for the first time in weeks. "No, you planned it. Every word, every bruise, every lie. I just saved the evidence." There was a stunned silence. Then Megan stood up, her voice trembling. "Is this what you've been doing to her?" All this time she turned to the others. She told me I was a failure as a daughter when I stopped calling. But now I see. She's the failure. Carol's mask shattered. She looked around the table, eyes wild. "Don't believe her. She's sick. She's manipulating all of you. She doesn't even have control of her hands," Megan snapped. "How could she fake all this?" Then came the final blow. Noah handed out printed copies of the new will, the bank transactions Carol had made, and a letter from my doctor confirming I was mentally sound, something I had requested weeks ago, anticipating exactly this moment. "You were going to steal from her," Megan whispered. "You already were." "She owes me," Carol shouted. "I gave up everything to take care of her." "No," I said, my voice calm cold. "You gave up your decency, that's all." Carol screamed. Actually screamed, a guttural broken sound, as she stormed out of the dining room, shoving past everyone. A glass shattered behind her. The door slammed, and then silence. Noah turned off the TV. Megan came to my side and knelt beside my chair, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I should have been here. I didn't know." I placed a trembling hand on hers. "Now you do." That night, the weight I had carried for months lifted, not because Carol was gone, but because the truth had finally been set free. And it had teeth, the aftermath of her screams. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Carol tried to do damage control, of course. She called relatives, spun stories, cried into voicemails about being framed by a bitter old woman. But no one was listening anymore. Her performance had ended, and the curtain had fallen hard. Megan moved me out within 48 hours. She insisted I come live with her and her fiancé in their one-story home just a few miles away. "No more pretending," she said as she packed my few belongings. "Your family, real family." It was strange at first, adjusting to warmth again. Megan checked in constantly, decorated my new room with sunflowers and photos from our childhood, even brought home a rescue cat to sit on my lap. She called him Justice. It felt fitting. As for Carol, consequences came knocking faster than she could slam the door. Noah submitted all our documentation to the authorities and a patient advocacy group. Within a week, Carol's name was blacklisted from multiple caregiving networks. Social services opened an investigation. Her employer, who saw the viral video Noah's friend helped upload, put her on indefinite leave. The church revoked her community volunteer status. And the will final, not a cent for her. Her inheritance was gone. The sympathy she craved turned to disgust. She sent me one last message, a text that simply read, "You destroyed me." I didn't reply, because I didn't destroy her. She did. For so long I carried shame. I believed her lies, that I was too much, too broken, too sick to be loved. But in the end, it wasn't my disease that defined me. It was my strength to endure, and finally to speak. I'd be lying if I said it didn't haunt me. What she did, what she said. Sometimes in the still of night, I replay her words and wonder how we ended up so far apart after growing up so close. But then I feel the warmth of Megan's hand, the sound of Justice purring at my side, and I remember I survived her. And now I live, not just exist, live. A month later, Megan hosted a small dinner in my honor. The table was filled with laughter, real love, and food that was actually served warm. She stood up, raised a glass, and said, "To Aunt Evie, who taught us that being silent doesn't mean being weak." I smiled, surrounded by light, no longer hidden in shadows. And for the first time in years, I felt like I mattered. If you're reading this and feel like a burden, like illness or age has made you invisible, please listen. You are not the problem. Abuse thrives in silence and shame grows in isolation. But there is power in truth. And there are people who will believe you. Document everything. Speak when you can. Ask for help even if your voice trembles. What happened to me could happen to anyone, but what I did next, that was a choice. And you can make it too. Choose dignity. Choose light. Choose to fight back. You're not done yet.